And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Valley of the Judged. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me is my good brother here in the temple, the Omegamon himself, good brother Drum. How we doing tonight?
I sure am. Doing good. Doing good.
Good is good. So,
Yeah.
Last week when we were here, we delved into a little bit of the crunch, but mostly the fluff regarding the world of Kamigakari.
Yep.
A few nods to God Eater were brought up, as well as invoking the fact that for those who want to run modern mythos style anime in tabletop form, this is already a strong contender for that. There was a comment last week that referred to this as Rocket Tag the game, but we'll get to that when we get to the mechanics proper.
Rocket Tag.
Mm-hmm. Which I've played Quake. I know exactly what people can do with rockets.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But for this week, we are going to be tackling the character section, and I will admit there is going to be a bit of skimming because of the non-linear nature of characters within the game. Yes, this is operating on a level system, but it's operating on a level system in the same way, not to the same extent, mind you, that say Mutants and Masterminds has its power levels.
Okay.
Where you technically have a leveling system, but it's not what people are thinking of when they think of that.
It's more of a suggestion than anything.
Yeah. Because given that there's a lot of different ways to build based on the pool of skills that you end up putting things in.
Yep.
You could have two characters who are the same level and be so vastly different from each other, it's not even funny. Imagine in a traditional fantasy game having two fighters at like level 5, but that's the only thing they have in common.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They have vastly different power sets and skills, where one is better than the other at.
Yep. But
yeah, like your traditional battle anime where it's like, haha, I have this really awesome ability. Oh no, I suck at this thing, or this is my big weakness that the enemy has power of that I don't.
Yeah.
It's all a big game of rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, and then somebody decides to bring in rock, paper, scissors, gun.
Yeah. Oh no, that's the protagonist with the gun.
We joke, but we've had at least 2 different anime where the main characters had rock, paper, scissors as part of their fighting style.
Oh yeah, Goku and Gon.
Yep.
It's funny.
And that's the shtick
I never watched Hunter x Hunter. I've only seen memes and some clips, but I do know that he uses rock, paper, scissors as a part of his kit. We'll say.
Yeah, and
that's funny.
I may do a full video down the road about the power system within Hunter x Hunter because I do find it very fascinating.
Yeah, I've heard it's an interesting one, but never dived into it myself.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing I'd expect Sanderson to write, honestly. But the first thing they get into is the character sheet proper. And a breakdown of what's there. Your level, your experience, your player name and character name, an illustration, which I rarely see people use. That's why I didn't put it in my game. Faction, the ancestry and ancestral trait, as well as the facade and the facade trait. Facade is, of course, the cover ID for your character.
Oh, okay.
You know, They can't be a god hunter 24/7. They have to have some sort of public cover, whether that's being a student, whether that's being an officer, some sort of civilian identity.
Yeah, everyone is essentially Hannah Montana.
Uh,
They gotta have their Miley Cyrus to their Hannah Montana, so that way no one could ever know of their secret double life.
Then the facets, which is going to be their particular fighting style, as well as the facet they specialize in.
Okay.
Then the main stats. Strength, agility, intellect, will, and luck.
Nice.
In addition to that, you have the subsets of PD, so physical damage, MD, magical damage, initiative, and HP. You'll have no doubt noticed there is no MP setup. That is going to be intentional.
What, mana points?
Mm-hmm. There is nothing like that.
Okay.
There are restrictions on certain abilities, but there isn't a straight MP system.
Okay.
But
Something probably more akin to like a recharge, where you gotta wait a little bit before you can use a thing.
It's all your powers are in the category of talents, and some talents have their own restrictions. So it's really a case by case thing.
Okay.
But then we have the combat modifiers, as well as combat stats, which is accuracy, your 2-hit, evasion, your try not to get hit, invocation, your 2 magical hit, your resistance to magical not hit, instinct for cases where an instinct check is called, then PD and MD as mentioned before, as well as initiative and HP. Then your equipped items, then a row for the totals, then a blank spot for the spirit crest, which I've seen some people just rip off one of the command seals from Fate and use that as a basis, as well as move speeds. Kamigakari has its own particular combat grid, which makes things significantly easier, so you don't always have to set that up, and makes sense since combat is meant to be taking place in this dimensional area kind of zone.
Oh right, the whole pocket dimension.
And it also means that you can set up combat encounters without having to do the full map setup if you so choose.
Right. It's its own little contained thing that you don't really have to ever do too much with.
Yeah.
It's a consistency thing.
But
nice.
Then we have innate powers and talents, and the talents are where a lot of the fun stuff that you'll be doing comes in. And you have kind of a hierarchy of talents. You have ancestry talents, which are well equipped by your ancestral trait, which is acquired the same way you acquire other talents. It's just locked to your ancestry. And you have general talents, which are ones that you can get regardless of ancestry or facet. A facet talent, self-explanatory. A key talent, which is described as automatically granted to you once you fill some kind of condition, such as acquiring a facet. In some cases, this is reaching a certain level, and those that are marked with a triangle are for those, and ones that are dot and X denote writing in automatically granted talents, such as when you first pick facets. Then there's expert talents, which can be an ancestry, facet, or a general one, but you can't pick an expert talent unless you're level 3 or higher.
Okay.
And you have focus talents, which are akin to expert talents, but they belong to your main facet. You still have to be at least level 3 to get it. and you can only pick focus talents to your main facet.
Gotcha. W- will this section explain, like, is there like a level cap to any individual character, like how in D&D you can't go past level 20? Is there something like that in this one?
To my knowledge, it's been a while, but I don't recall there being one. It's more of
Okay.
if you keep going up, you keep going up.
Okay.
But take that with a grain of salt. And of course, the
all
last is high talent. These are the strongest ones. You only get them every 5 levels.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and of course, basic talent, which is, well, exactly what it sounds like. It's the everything else entry. Mhm. Then equipment, money, and materials. Self-explanatory there. We've already gone over things like lay gold, as well as
Right.
materials. Then a spot for tracking HP, a spot for tracking your crest, as well as tracking bonds that your PC has formed with other characters. During initial creation, each PC forms a bond with one NPC of their choice, either from the book or from other material. Essentially, NPCs are other PCs that you have some kind of relationship with.
Right.
Then damage rate, which is a little reference chart to calculate damage from attacks. Then the minor things like physical details, description, origins, goals, and personality. The rounding out the character parts of things. But there are 2 options when it comes to character creation. You can either use one of the sample PCs, which none of them are outright named. They have titles instead of names, so that you can fill in those blanks yourself. Or you can create a full one. And this sort of use a sampler, create a full one setup is something you're going to see a lot in Japanese tabletop.
Right. Because a lot of people probably just want to, like, either don't want to or feel like they don't have much creativeness, so having an option of pre-made is good for people of that ilk.
Mm-hmm.
What do you... Oh, my coin. That's what you're playing with. Okay. Yeah, anyways.
Yeah. So if you're taking the forum method, it's just pick one of the sample PCs here, decide name, facade, etc. Done.
Yeah, and it's also just a good, quick way to do it if you're just going for a quick game.
Mm-hmm. Or a quick game, or if you've got that one rookie who's coming in late.
Yeah.
And each of the sample PCs you technically saw in the first few pages.
Oh yeah.
The first one being the Modern Wizard, and I do like that they have a couple things on the background of the character as well as some suggestions on how to play them. But the Modern Wizard is both a damage mage and a healer mage.
Oh, nice.
Who specializes in multi-target.
Ooh.
And
That's pretty good.
With each of them, we have an example of what their character sheet looks like. Although these sheets here are simplified versions. So you can see they already have their particular divine weapon is a ring. Ooh. And I'm going to put this on
King of the Crimson Lotus.
Yep.
Neat.
So while it's equipped, once per round, you can add 1 target to your magical attacks.
Ooh.
And you can kind of see that there's this shared setup with the stats that kind of stack, which is a very nice touch. Of course, you see we have the main stats up there and the substats. The facet, I guess I could call facets your classes, but they are more like archetypes. They're more giving you a direction that you lean into rather than directing what you're going to be getting. And because of the way it's set up, multi-classing is mandatory.
Nice.
But right at the bottom, all of the spells that you have as the modern wizard are essentially different types of talents. Spirit Barrier and Spirit Burn are talents that every Kamigakari will have.
Okay.
But then you can see some of the others, like Curative Spell, which recovers HP.
Ooh.
Suggestion, which can be messing around with memories of innocence. Brand Invocation, which deals magic damage. Umbral Displacement, which lets you swap positions. Abbreviated Chant, which lets you add 2 targets of attack timing talents. If it's other than selective targeting, then just +2 damage. And Pulse Bullet, which deals magic damage. Now, when it comes to things like cost, target, range, timing, and the like, we will get to that as we go on.
All right.
But the next example is the Blade Master of Slaughter, which is, your the name kind of says it.
It's your run-of-the-mill katana-wielding heroine.
Yep. It is amusing to me that the katana is a 2-handed sword in this case.
Yeah, I can see it.
I know I said multi-classic was mandatory, but here's the other thing: every facet essentially has an A type and a B type, so you can double down on a facet, but that is going to be at the cost of a degree of versatility.
Right. You'll be locked with only so many things you can actually do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you still have a decent amount of talents, as we can see here, but you are very much locked into physical combat.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But then we have the Chosen Shadow, who's meant to be a support. I'd say this one, the Chosen of Shadow, I'd say is akin to a non-healer support class. Something like, say, the Warlord back in 4th edition, what some people tell me the Battlemaster in 5th is, but it isn't. If you didn't play 4th, the Warlord was meant to be this frontline support that was essentially the battlefield commander archetype.
Yeah. Can't think of a good analogy, but like, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. Some people had called it the William Wallace class back then. There were a few that called it the Lelouch class as well. They don't attack you. They can attack you with their weapons, but their better weapon is the rest of the party.
Yeah. What the hell? What could I? They're they give out buffs and tell people what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're yeah. God, I can't think of it.
Mhm.
But like, I know like the two that are coming to mind is Battlemaster Fighter in 5e, where some of your things you can have your allies do things
Mhm.
uh during your action or whatever, and also it makes me think of tank supports in League of Legends.
Yeah. I haven't played League in years for various reasons, but
Yeah.
and a lot of people did say that the Battlemaster was that, but Battlemaster kind of morphed um into this Weapon Master like archetype after a bit.
Hmm.
Like it was trying to be that at first, then it didn't. But and I do find it amusing that this particular archetype's divine weapon is a Sacrament modded PC.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
You're definitely you're the sit back and essentially you're like a player controlling an RPG party, giving buffs, telling them what to do. If I'm reading
yeah.
this play advice correctly, it's like, yeah, you sit back and you help. You're like Oracle from Persona 5.
Hmm. Or Oracle from Batman. But
Oh yeah.
then then we have the Rhyme Devil, uh,
Mhm.
who is a far more defensive physical combatant as opposed to the Blade Master of Slaughter. Uh,
You're the tank, basically.
mhm. You pretty much are.
Yeah.
And I do like that
Yeah.
their divine weapon is a combat motorcycle. And
Love
people
it.
thought the Cavalier from DMC5 was excessive. I didn't, but that's because I know better. But you know, we can definitely see that with them getting a lot of stuff for guard or a lot of having ally damage or even taking damage for yourself. Uh, though I do appreciate that you can do a bit of movement before you do something like guard. Since a
Nice.
pet peeve I've had with some cover your friend effects in some games is that you have to already be right next to them. And when people are
Oh
doing
yeah.
their combat setups in a more set piece like design where there's a bigger tendency to spread out, it doesn't have the
Hmm.
same effect. Yeah, but then we have the Silver Shot Cleric. Who why why do I hear someone shouting "Amen" in the distance? Although,
Can I get a hallelujah?
yeah, although looking at that design there, I think a better analogy would be Equilibrium. If you've seen that movie,
I think I've heard of it, but never actually seen it.
yeah, but
Mm.
it is essentially they're doing they call it a Magic Knight type, but Magic Guns Akimbo is going to be
This
more accurate.
this is a battle medic. You can't convince me otherwise.
Uh,
Like the guns are for the obvious shooting,
mhm.
but when it says keep an eye out for your allies, if they need it, heal them instead of attacking them. And it's like, yeah, that this is battle medic.
Yeah, which I'm perfectly fine with. I've never
Oh
been the
yeah.
biggest fan of having medic just sit back and wait for people to get hit.
Yeah. Like you gotta do something.
Mm-mm.
You gotta fight back too. Oh.
I think that's the reason why the when I did play Overwatch, the closest thing I would play to a medic was Zenyatta.
Oh yeah, I love Zenyatta.
I mean,
He was
yeah,
so fun to play as.
there's the obvious monk part of it, but it's the fact that you can do both healing and aid in damage.
Yeah. And you can do some significant fucking damage
Mhm.
with his balls.
Yeah. You do have to
Those
do a
things
bit of
hurt.
balance. You do have to do a bit of balancing act when you
Oh
do
yeah,
it, but that's just the normal skill gap.
but that's his. Yeah, that's it. That's his shtick.
Mm-hmm.
Balance in all things,
Yep.
as he says.
Mm-hmm. But then we have the anti-demon ninja, which is referred to as a very versatile fighter.
Mhm.
And seems to be one that's more of an off fighter as opposed to a in your face one.
Yeah, definitely the kind to run in, take a stab, then dip out kind of tactics.
Yeah, especially since their defense isn't great, especially their magic defense. The magic defense is 3.
Yeah.
But you do also have the advantage of using a spear with them, so you've got a bit of range, so a bit of mobility and poke.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one of the bigger reasons I bring up the hit and run tactic is one of their talents is wall walking. When you climb, you succeed at the check regardless of roll. Also, when making a combat move, you ignore engagements.
Yeah, this character is meant to run around the map, poke people,
Mm-hmm.
While staying at a decent distance.
Oh yeah,
with their hit and run tactics.
Mm-hmm. So then we have we have the Windmaster, who, well, the Windmaster can fly, as you would hope.
Oh hell yeah!
And seems to be but even with that, seems to be a versatile spellcaster. Their divine weapon is a magical creature, the Messenger of the Winds.
Cool.
Which once per round can increase the range of their magic attacks.
Ooh.
They doubled down into Elemental Adept.
I will become the Wind Mage.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And you do being able to fly is going to have its benefits. As well as like this one, Invite Fortune. You instantly gain 500 lei gold once per session.
Fucking what? What the fuck? That's so good. That's funny. The winds of fortune. Oh, it's good. It's good. I like my play on words.
Yep. Let's see. Then we have the Digital Sorcerer.
I'm gonna swipe left on you, and you're not gonna do much about it, loser. Zap.
And Hydra says, too easy to make breaking wind jokes with this character. Yeah. But the Digital Sorcerer is very much a support. Although it seems to be one that can mess around with their particular talents to essentially spell hack.
I'm gonna take my turn on your turn.
Mm-hmm. Plus, there's things like
that's funny.
Program Shell, where select a value from 1 to 10, increase your guard by and reduce your initiative by that amount. Or Battle Interpreter, after you're using a talent with the magical attack effect class, may immediately make a weapon attack only once per round.
Neat.
And Guard and Ward are essentially damage soak. Guard for physical, Ward for magical. And their divine weapon, the Aetherlight Smartphone, has it that once per combat, the target of one of your magical attacks has their ward. Which is definitely going to be even more useful because that smartphone has a range of 7 squares.
Oh shit. That's pretty good.
But then we get into creating your own character. First is starting your starting level, which obviously is going to be level 1 unless you're starting at a higher tier. Then your choice of ancestry, as well as the stat type. You can either go with warrior, adept, or occultist. These will determine a starting stat spread. I guess I can describe it as fighter, mage, and Gish, with adept being Gish in the in-between of the two.
Okay.
It's not a perfect analogy, but it's close enough. Then you also get the ancestral trait and the main stats. Then you calculate substats. Your PD is strength divided by 2. Your MD is intellect divided by 2. Your initiative is agility plus 5. And your HP is strength plus will plus 3 times your level.
Oh shit.
Then you'd pick 2 facets. You can pick the same facet twice, but only if they possess different types. Once you've picked one, you get the items associated with that facet and record them. Now, obviously, if you're picking the same facet, you can't pick the same type as well for one entry. So if you're going with the same facet, you have to pick either the beta and alpha as the combo, or vice versa. But you always got 2. Then the group and combat modifiers, then calculating the combat stats. So accuracy is strength plus accuracy modifier. Evasion is based on agility. Invocation is based on intellect. Resistance is based on will. Instinct on luck. PD and MD are calculated as normal. Initiative is calculated as normal, as well as HP. And it does say modifier for each one of those combat stats because facets can grant you modifiers to that. So you're getting a starting block from the build you pick with your ancestry, and you're getting further modifiers based on your combination of facets.
Oh.
But then talents. Any facet talents that you're chosen from your facets that are key ones, you get automatically. In addition to that, you get 2 ancestry talents from the ancestry list, and 2 additional basic talents from any list that you qualify for.
Ooh.
And as mentioned before, expert and focus talents you can't get until you're level 3. And focus talents you can only get from ones that are from your main facet, so the first one you pick. But in addition to that, Spirit Burn and Spirit Barrier you will always have. On the character sheet, they are already recorded.
It's an inherent thing everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we have a few special characters for talents. First one is for ancestry talents that are automatically granted at the level listed immediately above it. Then one for automatically granted talents. One for the facet talent, or ancestry talent, or any kind of talent acquired at that specific level. And you cannot acquire talents from any ancestry or facet not listed on your sheet.
Oh, okay.
So, at character creation, you will start with around 8 talents total, including Spirit Burn and Spirit Barrier. So 2 from your ancestry, 2 key facet ones, or more depending on facet, and then 2 basic. So in that regard, you could kind of think of your collection of talents as akin to the action bar you see in an MMO or a CRPG.
Oh, okay.
I know that's going to piss off some grogs who want to say that, or who still insist that I was wrong when I say the MMO comparison with 4th edition doesn't hold weight. But they're grogs, so fuck them.
Oh, action bar. Kind of like in World of Warcraft where you can set your spells.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Is that?
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's, you see it in MMOs, you see it in CRPGs, you see it in ARPGs like Diablo. It's hardly anything new.
I'm guessing CRPG is Chinese RPG?
Computer.
Well, I have an egg on my face. I don't think I've ever heard CRPG before. I think that's my issue. But okay, computer RPG.
Mm-hmm. So things like Planescape, as one of the bigger examples. Baldur's Gate would be Baldur's Gate 3 would be a more recent example.
Oh, okay.
Which, if I can find a mod to deal with the Vancian model, I will stream Baldur's Gate 3. Until then, I'm not doing it.
God, I have to beat that fucking game. I'm like 5 minutes into part 2, and I have just not touched it since.
Mm-hmm. I mean, credit to the game in question, but when I started playing D&D when I was 10 years old, I hated the Vancian model, and I still hate it. I think I went over that when we did that Yap stream a couple weeks ago.
Refresh my noodle. What the hell is a Vancian? Or whatever you just said?
The Vancian model is the name of the spells per day model that D&D has used since day one.
Oh.
So called because it's as a nod to Jack Vance and his Dying Earth series of books, which Gygax and Arneson were fans of.
Oh, correlating to your spell slots, where if you use them up, you can't get any more till the beginning of the next day.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like in a way, spell slots make it so you can't just spam everything. You have a limited you have limited resource, so you gotta be smart with it.
Yeah, and I think I did a whole 20-minute video going into why I have an issue with it, but it comes down to a few pillars. One of them is I don't have a strong enough in-universe reason for why it exists.
I think in-universe would just be like what I just said. Though you are a powerful mage, you only have so much internal resource, hence the spell slots. So it's your body can unless you're a god, to where your body can handle exerting itself past whatever limits. It's a limiter thing, because at the end of the day, your D&D character, unless story-wise otherwise, you're still a mortal. Granted, an above-average powerful mortal, you still have your limits. Yeah. So
but it's not just that part, but also the whole needing to prepare your spells and then forgetting and have to re-prepare them the next day. There
Oh, yeah.
that
Okay, that part I can kind of agree with.
now the limit
It's
now
like if
having a
I'm
limit
a, uh-huh.
having a limitation on spells, that's perfectly fine. But it's that whole loop that there isn't a in-universe explanation for. Out of universe, I understand it.
Right.
It's following up on what they were doing with chainmail, where wizards were artillery, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an out of universe reason, and I don't have that problem with other RPGs.
Right. I will agree with you on the whole preparing thing because it's like, if I'm a wizard, I have a book. I have all my spells written down. I know them. I'm already limited on the amount of spell slots I can use per day because I'm a wizard. And it's like, I could just flip the page. I have the power to do the things. I've got my spell components. Just it's like let me just let me use the spell that I found in my book for the right occasion.
Mm-hmm.
And not have to guess, oh, will I need this spell today or will I not need this spell today?
Yeah.
Like I agree with you on that part. It's kind of silly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah.
The other issue is
mm-hmm.
that the limited amount of slots and the way that it's used ends up creating the need to have this level of versatility with spells that ends up going too far and steps on everyone else's toes because of how many spells are believed to be needed. About a decade ago, I did an experiment. I grabbed a bunch of fantasy RPGs. I wanted to see the ratio of total pages in the core book to pages of spells. The biggest offender was D&D 3rd edition.
Really?
Yeah. And
Do they just like have a shit ton of spells?
Yeah, it's more of now if a game has a shit ton of pages but also a shit ton of spells, that might be a major offender, but not as much. It's the ratio.
Okay.
And one third of the player's handbook is just spells. The player's handbook wasn't that big. Comparatively speaking. I mean, I have a lot of pages of spells in Legend Edition, but Legend Edition is also like 500 pages, and only about 100 of those pages is spells. I have to double check the counter, but the ratio's not as big.
Right. Oh my god.
And
I decided to take my 2014 PBG, and holy crap, that is 187 pages. 190 pages of spells in a 317 page book.
which
What the fuck?
let's do a little bit of calculation. How many pages of spells did you say?
If my math is right, and I'm looking at this right, 100 and no, not quite. Okay, it starts at 201, ends at 289. Wait. Okay, never mind. I don't know how to do math, but that's still like 89 pages of spells.
Yeah, 89 pages out of a book of how many pages?
317. That's almost a whole ass third of it.
That is
Good Lord.
28% of the book. So a little
Good
over
Lord.
1/4 of it. And 3.5's book was worse.
Oh no.
so with Pathfinder 1E. In fact, I think the two of them were at a close tie.
Oh, jeez.
Uh, and Hydra brings out 3.5 was 28%, so about the same. But that's the reason why that's funny to me is I remember asking someone why were prestige classes something that weren't in the player's handbook, but the first prestige class, the assassin, was in the DM's guide. The answer I was given was there was no room to put it in the player's handbook. I counter, you may have had some room if you didn't have so many redundant spells. Like, do we really need 18 different versions of protection from? Okay, it wasn't 18, but like each alignment had a different protection from spell that was its own entry. Same with, say, detect. So you had detect good, detect evil, detect law, detect chaos. Like, do you really need 4 different entries for a concept that's mechanically the same across those different versions, just a different target?
Trick question. You don't.
But the funny thing is with when it comes to limitations, I don't have a problem with games that have a limitation but also give an explanation for it. For example,
right,
you kind of have a spells per day thing with the Shugenja magic in Legend of the Five Rings. But the explanation that it gives is you're asking the kami for a favor. You're not casting a spell with your own power directly. You're doing a prayer to the elemental kami to do something for you, and you can only do that so much before they get mad. In the same vein, you have spell drain in Shadowrun, which makes sense. When you cast spells in that, you take stun damage. Take too much stun damage, you fall unconscious. And of course, a better caster has ways of mitigating that, but I'm vastly simplifying.
Right.
And of course, in something like Warhammer, you run the risk of having chaos mess with you every time you cast a spell.
Oh yeah.
Because all magic is chaos magic, and messing around with chaos leads to bad things.
It sure does. It's great.
Think of the Bright Wizard in Vermintide, where if you end up unloading your spells too much, you can explode.
That's funny.
Because, well, Bright Wizards like to do 2 types of magic: fire and explosions. Sometimes both. I mean, that's how you get Greek fire and napalm. But getting back to Kamigakari, step 7 is getting items.
Oh yeah.
This is where you would get the essentially your regalia. So weapons, protection, which is armor, and Hydra corrects it himself. 3.5 player's handbook. 38.6%. All spells.
Bruh.
I told you it was worse.
That's crazy.
I told you it was worse.
Yeah, that is significantly worse. Holy shit.
But, let's see. Sacraments, which can give you an effect by just owning them, and consumables. Self-explanatory there. As far as how much gold you have to spend, it is level -1 times 1500 plus 5,000, or just 5,000 gold at character creation. I think the level -1 times 1500 thing is there for people who are playing at higher levels.
Okay.
And at character creation, you can only buy weapons, protection, and accessories that have a cost. Sacraments and consumables can only be purchased during sessions. You do get one entry-level customization for one weapon you own. And after doing that purchase, you can select one of the 5 hunter sets, which provide a collection of sacraments and consumables, and place check marks on those items next to inventory materials and notes. Hunter sets I'd liken to item kits, or things like the adventurers pack that everybody has. But after doing that initial purchase, you get 200 gold for free.
Nope.
But after getting equipment, you pick your facade and gain a trait based on it. Sometimes you may have to switch to a different facade if the scenario calls for it. But it's not a hard thing to switch facades, because they don't have a lot of crunch to them, much in the same way as, say, backgrounds. Now, when it comes to talents, like I said, each talent is like one technique or spell that you would see in an MMO or an ARPG like Diablo, and operates on the idea of first off having a timing, i.e., when during combat you can spend it. The range, self-explanatory. The target, the area of effect. Most of them are going to be single target unless they say otherwise. Now, the cost is in spirit energy dice. Not every talent will cost it, but spirit energy dice is the closest equivalent to MP. But since it's done in dice, you can no doubt guess that it is not that comparing it to an MP setup is not a 1-to-1. Spirit this is something that's gonna be covered in the rules section, but I'm bringing it up here to give proper context. Every player has 4 dice that are called spirit dice. These, of course, are always D6s, and these are collectively referred to as your spirit pool. For most, it's going to be 4. When you use a talent, that die is temporarily spent at a cost to fuel it. Sometimes you can overspend, and this is what's referred to as overflow dice. It's not overflow is not represented by actual dice, but having some amount of it. It's essentially a way to shortcut around paying. And sometimes you just spend the dice. Other times you can only spend very specific dice. And at the start of a new round, your spirit die are refreshed. So think of them as a die version of, say, lands in Magic the Gathering. So, and now, obviously, at the start of each combat, those dice are rolled, and the result of those rolls will determine what you can use. So, if a talent has a number on it as its cost, you have to spend 1 die of that exact number. So, if a talent says 1, you have to spend a spirit die that has 1.
Gotcha.
If it says E or O, any even or odd die can be spent. If it says double, you need, well, doubles in order to do it. If it says steps, that means you need to have adjacent values. So, in a roundabout way, you could consider this kind of akin to poker dice
Oh.
in terms of what you're spending. But it also means that while you technically have access to any of your talents, the flow of spirit determines what you can actually use at a given point. And every round they're re-rolled.
Oh, okay.
And this is why overflow is so important, because sometimes you might have overflow that says like overflow 5, for instance. That means that overflow can be used as a stand-in for the cost without spending spirit die if you have a talent that qualifies. This also means you could alternatively use that 5 to do a doubles or steps cost without having to spend 2 dice. So let's say you've got overflow 5 because of an effect, and you want to spend for a talent that would need steps. You already have you only have, but you could take that 5 and say use a 6 or a 4 and be able to activate that talent, even if you didn't have the other dice normally.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, their overflows are essentially jokers.
Ooh.
Very specific jokers, but jokers nonetheless.
Right.
It's just that unlike normal spirit die, overflow doesn't come back as easy. They're generated and spent on effects.
Oh, okay.
And there is also the fact that the amount of overflow you get, if it does give overflow, changes depending on the type of talent. Like key and basic talents are only going to give 1 overflow, whereas high talents will give 3. Then we have the effect class of talents, which is going to be whether it's a melee or ranged attack, whether it's going to be physical or magical, whether it's going to be a use, i.e. whether or not you can use it regardless of what you've got. If it's used to react, then it's used around a evasion, resistance, or instinct check. Some of them are more specific on what you can use it on, and some of them are just straight up for damage. But the use part is basically the effect class is basically a form of timing and a form of type. And I know one might say, isn't it redundant to have both melee and physical? Physical and magical don't care about what kind of weapon you have, whereas melee and ranged do.
Yeah. You have your up close and your far away, which are very, very distinctly different. Either or being both either magical or non-magical.
Yeah, but then we have the ancestries, which we have an example with the Paragon, where you have the one ancestral trait, and then the stat types that you have for the warrior, adept, and occultist build. They don't call it builds, but they call it arrays, but it basically is a build.
Yeah.
And each ancestry has its own. Sorry. After that, we already mentioned facets, and we already talked about how there's an alpha and beta facet.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with items and the stats therein. There is, of course, the fact that protectors are your defensive items, and that can be armor or shield.
Right.
And when it comes to weapons, you either have one-handed weapons, switchable, or two-handed. Switchable is essentially the versatile approach.
Yeah. Where they also do different dies depending on how you're wielding it.
Yeah, in this case, switchable weapons will have 2 values for PD, MD, and initiative. So yes, your weapon can play a factor in your initiative. So getting out that you might be able to do a lot of damage with that heavy weapon, but it also means you're going to be acting close to, if not last.
Right.
And there's also the arms system. This was something we kind of hinted at last week about how the divine weapons can evolve with you. Customizations is how that's done.
I do like me a customizable evolving weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Love that shit. I've implemented some. I've in my D&D game I run before coming to this every Thursday. I have essentially given my players special pieces of equipment that I have plans to upgrade as the story goes on.
Mm-hmm. And I've
some of them.
Good.
I was just gonna say some of them, but 2 of them are pretty fun. One being a artificer who I've essentially given. They're Eggman inspired.
Mm-hmm.
They're an Eldritch Cannon turret. I've given them the means to have a sort of egg walker, as well as some minions. One is the character itself is actually just a sentient mask puppeting a humanoid body. The other 2 are, well, standard barbarian, standard dual wielding elf ranger. So I got to think outside the box for them, but they have their special weapons.
Of course, you have to think outside the box, since Ranger is the most cursed class in D&D.
Yeah, but man, does my player ranger get like fucking 10 hits in a fucking round? And mostly because D&D 5.5 they added masteries to the weapons, so like the scimitar has this thing where it's like, cool, when you hit with this and you're in mastery with it, make another attack. It's like, god damn. It's crazy. But you know what? I'm here for it.
Now watch how they try to errata the whole thing out because some caster players got pissy.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing I can pick and choose what rules I set.
Yeah, and I remember that happening with. I really liked the original Mystic that was an Unearthed Arcana, and then they decided to just drop it. And some.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I kept it, even though they're like, this isn't going to be in any official support, and I had said
okay, cool.
To quote Samuel L. Jackson, I understand the council has
Uh-huh.
made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
Exactly. It's like, all right, you're not gonna knock down on my door like the Tinkertons and tell me how to run my game. You guys are just giving me guidelines.
Mhm.
I'm god of my own world.
Although
I could just reverse all the rules you put in place if I so wish.
I do hope, I do want whoever pitched the idea of, oh, psychics are just wizards who cast spells with their mind to be flogged.
Christ. Like, yeah, no, like, mystics are literally. They're mental. Wizards are spellcasters who, sure, are smart, but it's not, psionic. It's not psionic. It's you're a book nerd. You learn how to cast spells.
Mm-hmm.
Mystic is basically like. It's like a sorcerer. It's like a mind sorcerer.
Yeah.
But can be a bit more, I've never run or I think actually looked too much into Mystic, but like Mystic is pretty versatile from what I remember. You don't have to be a squishy mage user. You could just be a Jedi if you so wish.
Yeah.
If I remember.
But when it comes to customizations with the ARM system, there are certain limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And it does say that future supplements will have ones that have multiple forms. That did happen, but that's not going to be in this book. The big thing is that some of them are listed as entry ones. These are the ones that you can take one of as a freebie at character creation.
Okay.
And the whole cost and trade thing is if you want to trade materials or spend gold to get it. And of course the effect of it.
Right.
And there are different forms of customizations, as well as integrating materials as customizations, which you do have an integration limit, so, i.e., you can only put material into a thing so many times.
Right.
And the integration limit is based on the type of weapon, armor, or accessory. Accessories can only do it once. Protectors can do it twice. One-handed and switchable weapons can do it twice. Two-handed weapons can do it 4 times. And you do have to spend gold every time you do it, at least 1 gold. But
right.
It's not going to. But when doing material integration, it's not going to be as expensive as just buying a customization, because you're already paying with material, so no need to double down on that.
Right.
So in order to do material integration, you only need to spend 1 gold.
It's not bad.
But and when it comes to the ancestries, each one has their own little mini list of talents, and the ancestries we have first is Paragon, which you can see has its own setup. If a talent is an expert talent, it will say so. Then we have Night Stalker. And let me go into the traits. So Paragon has genetic memory. You can acquire Paragon ancestry talents, and you can equip Paragon only items. And that's pretty much the way a lot of the ancestral traits are going to work, unless you do ancestry talents and items specific to that ancestry.
Okay.
And we have and each type of ancestry they're all collectively referred to as inheritors. Uh,
Okay.
I already mentioned Night Stalker, which is very much doing the vampire thing. In fact, one form that it can take is a clan of vampires.
That's funny.
Um, the Hanyo are referred to as half human, half yokai. This could be minor gods, it could be fairies, it could be Tengu, it could probably be Kenku as well. And you can kind of see that sort of thing with the talents that they have. This is where we see the invite fortune talent that you saw earlier. But it does seem that there are about 8 standard talents and 6 expert talents for each ancestry. So you've got options. If somebody wants to be the castiest caster, the ancestry that they probably take is Magus. These are people that have some sort of magic tradition, whether it be witches, onmyoji, sorcerers, priests, etc.
Yeah.
I do like
that there's the magic users.
That there's not that much difference between a priest and a wizard in this sense. It's just you are the caster. that is if you're picking Magus, that's what you're going to be doing. But I also like that you can do potion making, since one of the talents you can pick for them is alchemical knowledge, where if you're in a non-combat scene at any time, you can purchase consumable items.
Huh.
The fluff describes it as you know how to make potions, you know how to even make homunculi, and you have facilities and equipment suitable for it.
Very nice, very nice.
But then we have natural. These are people who aren't from a particular lineage, but got the power of a shard through other means. And because of that, there's almost a jack of many trades approach with them. Or they're not really hyper focused on one thing, but are decent at a bunch of different things.
Okay.
And then the general talents, as mentioned before. And then when it comes to the facets, as mentioned before, each facet has its own modifiers to your combat stats, and it's not a case where you pick one or the other; they both add up.
Oh, okay.
So the Archslayer, you are really good at taking things out, and the main difference between the alpha and the beta with a lot of these is the talents that you can pick. So you have a similar thing with the Dragon Carrier, who is more of a armored master.
Oh, okay.
And because of the fluff, I keep thinking of certain Kamen Rider entries or Garo, because it talks about crystallizing their spirit and using that spirit crystal to sheathe their bodies in armored forms and scaly exoskeletons, or can coat their weapons with it.
Ooh. Okay.
Like that it I see that and I immediately think Garo. And the difference between the alpha and beta type is alpha is offense, beta is defense.
Hmm.
Then we have the Dark Hunter, who are shadow magicians.
Spooky.
Alpha is both of them have a lot of support options, but beta specializes more in support, whereas alpha has a bit of offense and support.
Okay.
But then we have elemental adept, which is self-explanatory, I think, what that is.
Yeah, that's so self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm. And it these and the I do appreciate that instead of going with powers for each element, they just have it as like element blast, which is just pick one element. Oh. Alpha is attack enhancing, whereas beta is defense enhancing.
Okay.
But then we have Elder Mage. If picking the Magus bloodline wasn't enough, you can go with Elder Mage as one or both of your facets to be even castier. The catch with Elder Mage is that you have to have a magical weapon equipped, and some of the facets do have a equipment restriction. Like Dragon Carrier, you had to have a accessory equipped. But with Elder Mage Beta, you don't have that restriction. But then we have Digital Sorcerer, which the idea of sorcerers using like digital symbols instead of carving out runes or something like that amuses me to no end.
By casting this spell, I send 3 laughing emojis, an eggplant, and 2 tongues. God, love it.
Mm-hmm. But they are definitely. Sorcerer definitely comes to mind because they're more about messing around with talent effects. I mean, the key talent for Digital Sorcerer is Zohar Method. When a target declares a talent, and that, then they can treat the entire cost of one talent as if it was already paid, only once per round. But you need double ones in order to do it.
Oh shit!
So that can be pretty powerful, but getting double snake eyes on 4 dice is not going to be easy.
Oh yeah.
You can kind of see what I mentioned when it comes to the cost and the fact that the way spirit die are rolled is going to determine what you can use. So if you end up it's for that reason that doubling down on similar costs is not advised.
Okay.
Some of them have multiple possibilities for cost, like say assault module here, which has a cost of evens or odds, which just means you need 1 even or 1 odd dice. So it's going to be easy to cast that. And it just means you're doing a shock element attack damaging spell that's rank 2.
Oh
But
shit.
on what rank 2 is not that high, and if they resist it, then it's half damage. But the range is combat zone.
So pretty much, my range is yes. I am going to hit you.
Yeah. Uh,
That's funny.
it's kind of like how a bullet has your name on it, a grenade says to whom it may concern, and then there's the artillery way in the back saying, y'all are talking some mad shit for some grid coordinates.
That's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. But just the idea of treating spells like a computer program is an underrated concept, I think. Especially
No.
since when we look at the way spells work in a lot of games, it more or less is a program. It is designed to do that one thing and nothing else. Somebody who's good at that can mess around with it the way a programmer can mess around with a program. And you also have the fact that people are superstitious about messing around with code. Because sometimes somebody doesn't want. There are sometimes junk in particular codes because nobody wants to touch it out of fear that if they touch it, it's going to create bugs
Break
elsewhere.
everything.
Yep.
I don't want everything to die, so I'm just going to pretend I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm. So, maybe there is something to the whole machine spirit thing you see in 40K.
Yeah.
Of tech priests having to bless technology and make sure that the machine spirit is calmed.
Oh yeah.
Of course, that could just be a byproduct of it works because a lot of people believe it works.
Yeah. Like, maybe we all have that, just the tiniest bit of that orc imagination power.
Mm-hmm.
But like severely to the minuscule fraction, where if we just enough, this might not break everything.
Well, you know how Slanesh got made, right? The sheer
a lot of sex.
The sheer amount of unrestrained, unrelenting murder fucking resulted from a race that was already very sensitive to the warp, ended up causing such a feedback loop that you end up with a chaos god or goddess.
That wasn't too far off.
But it is interesting as well that instead of each one facet having their own list of high talents, we have high talents in this collective list, and some of them are stat boosts. Others let you get a key talent from another facet, so you can customize even further.
Right.
That's pretty much what facet acquisition lets you do. Pick one facet you don't have, you get its key talent, and you can advance. And when you advance your character, you can select from its facet talents. And we also have high talents at level 10. So you have a list of high talents you can start getting at 5th, and a list of high talents you can get at 10th. And I do have to correct myself. You cap at 20. So you're only getting 2 high talents.
Oh, okay. So, there is a cap. There is a ceiling cap. Cool. Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
So
makes sense that high talents aren't something you can easily get very often.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at something like Supreme Caster, which has it that you get +1 to invocation checks, and plus 10 to magical damage.
And look at this. Grandmaster gained 15 bonus to physical damage. That's fucking wild.
Though I've had a problem with certain capstone or high-end effects in some games that the benefit you get doesn't seem to be worth the effort or worth the amount of effort put in.
Oh,
You
yeah.
Think of, say, the capstone ability for say, I know I'm picking on the ranger, but I'm gonna do it again. The level 20 ability for rangers back in the 2014 version. It was like,
Yeah.
ooh, you can add your wisdom modifier to your attacks. Whoopee!
Yeah. I think they did make it. They did make ranges a bit better after the 2024 edition came out.
Yeah, and
Good.
Valiant doesn't have that problem as well. But I'd say the biggest victim of that kind of thing is actually the wizard, because
Really,
signature spells is kind of lame. Like you get two third level spells that don't count against your number of prepared spells, and you can cast them once. You can cast them once without expending a slot, and can't do it again until you finish a rest. Like, as an effect, that's fine. As a 20th level effect, not so fine.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And I'd be tempted to look at what the closest thing I have to the wizard in Legend Edition is the scholar, who has a grimoire that lets them get even more spells than normal.
Oh, nice.
And because the scholar is meant to be the castiest caster,
Right.
and at 7th circle, it basically means that you have, instead of only picking 2 spell lists for your grimoire, you have a grand total of 6 potential spell lists you can pick.
Oh shit.
I mean, you still have a limitation on how many spells you can put in the grimoire, and you can't modify those spells with meta magic.
Right.
But it's still more spells. Again, the scholar is meant to be the castiest caster.
Yeah.
And but after that we have the hunter sets, and I think you can see why I compared this to say the toolkits or the adventurers pack.
Oh yeah, because each comes with their own like set items.
A couple sacraments and a handful of consumables. And I like that this is there instead of saying here's 200 gold, have at it for your sacraments and consumables. Because while some people may enjoy that level of customization, it is essentially you picking somebody up, and instead of teaching them how to swim, just throwing them into the deep end and say drown, and say don't drown. Or the dwarven parent throwing their kid into the lava and saying it's sink or swim, son. And if they go, but Dad, it's too hot. He's like, that sounds like elf talk to me, boy.
Lord.
But then we have the items. We have a baseline for each, and let me see. So for melee weapons, we have swords, spears, axe, and hammer. and each of them has their own short list of customizations for the arm system. For ranged weapons, we just have ranged, which can be either a light firearm, a combat motorcycle, or a standard firearm.
Love it.
Yeah, the combat motorcycle, like, what the fuck? I love it, but
Hell yeah.
but I want to know what the pitch was.
What if we want Kamen Rider, but literally?
I'd go one step further. This is trying to go Road Rash, or more recently Road Redemption, if you played that.
Nope.
Somebody looked at the old Road Rash game and said, "How can we make this more ridiculous? Let's have motorcyclists using things like grappling hooks and grenade launchers."
Hell yeah. That sounds fucking awesome.
But we do also have magical weapons, which can be either a grimoire, a holy symbol, or a jewel of the magi. I always appreciate when spellcasters have their own specific weapon instead of just saying, here's a stick. Though in one of my old campaigns, I did have someone whose holy symbol was a gauntlet. For one reason and one reason only.
Yeah.
I cast Fist.
It's funny because not just like a few months ago, D&D Beyond released Valder's Spire of Secrets, where the subclasses within were all basically like other forms of media base. So like you got your Street Fighter monk, you got your Spider-Man rogue, and you have the Punch Wizard. Or not the Punch Wizard? What was that? Basically, you're a barbarian, but your subclass is your casting spells. If you can't hear the air quotes in my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
Oh, there's a few others I forgot on this list. Magical creature,
Yeah.
for those who really want to do the magical girl shtick, or just have a familiar. A focus, which is described as a staff, crystal ball, or icon used to conduct invocations. A device, or a sacred instrument. And each of these is restricted, with 3 exceptions, is restricted to particular facets, or just a restriction that it has to be caster only. Though sacred instrument is a special one where it can be used by either elder mages or digital sorcerers. Then we have the protectors in form of armors and shields. And armor, as one might expect, armor does do initiative penalties.
Okay.
I think weapons do as well. And even the most basic weapon is going to do some kind of penalty on that. But even your weapons are going to increase your defense, which is very nice.
Nice.
So you're not required to need a shield.
Okay.
Obviously the restriction with shield is you need to have a free hand.
Right.
Though there are some things that are considered shields that are interesting, like say Champion's Gauntlet, which is it is a spiked gauntlet as a shield.
Nice.
Uh, and of course accessories, which is everything else. You just can't have the same, except you can't, each accessory has a slot entry. You can't have the same one twice.
Right.
And you can't have any more than 2 accessories, so you do have to pick carefully. Then you have sacraments, which are akin to minor magic items. They're not useful in combat, but they might be useful in other things.
Right.
I do like that one of them is a safe house that only costs 10 gold. Only costs 10
Hell
gold.
yeah. Hell yeah.
As well as things like spy tools, if someone wants to be Kamen Rider Zets. See, consumables, which are self-explanatory. Unless some of them are in sets of 5 or more, and others are single shots. If it doesn't have a grouping notification, it's a single shot. For example, the magic candle here is a set of 5. Which the way it's described as how you can use it to dispel anomalies almost makes me think that things like the magic candle would be very useful if you're playing some kind of exorcist.
Oh yeah.
So then we have Shikigami as well. If anyone who's seen enough anime with some sort of Shinto priest or the like has probably seen Shikis, even if they didn't know it.
Yeah.
They are little paper dolls that can be given limited life, but it's not living.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that before.
Yep. I know some people might raise their eyebrow at the item disposable fetish because their head is in the gutter, but
yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that item was called a fetish till honestly, probably like a month or 2 ago when I heard it be used in one of the D&D podcasts I listened to. And it's like, huh, I didn't know that was the case. Cool.
Yeah. I knew about it, but that's mostly because I have.
You're not a dirty birdie like some people.
I have some very occult friends.
Oh, okay.
One of whom is an alchemist.
Cool.
But of course, then the last thing we have is facade, which, as mentioned, is kind of occupation and position. Each one of them grants a particular benefit, as well as having a short list of items. And they're divided into simple facades and advanced ones. Advanced ones you can take, but there's a bit of a floor to them, and you might need GM permission for them, or depending on the scenario, it might be trickier to work with. Like one of them is lawyer. So it's one of those cases where depending on the composition of the group and the scenario, that facade may not be the right fit. And that's especially the case with things like politician or artisan, which are listed as advanced.
Oh, okay.
And we also have a set of tables for just details to flesh out if you are having some trouble with that. And these are D6 tables, so you're rolling 2d6 and looking at that. And there's a similar thing when it comes to bonds.
Mhm.
Because you're because of the fact that Kamigakari is taking place in very specific cities,
Mm-hmm.
you can't just be the murder hobo. You're somebody who
Yeah.
has some kind of established position in that city, even if you're just, say, a student.
It's literally you're playing in the real world, but with some extra fantasy crap.
Mhm.
Like you're still John Doe who works at the 7-Eleven and takes night college classes. You know people in your town. Uh and as far as they're aware, you're just a normal guy doing his day-to-day bullshit to get through the day. And if they see you like committing atrocities, it's like, what the fuck? Your actions will still have consequences.
Yep. Um, and if every Kamigakuri's regalia is intended to have a divine name, and
Mhm.
we have this giant table here to help people out if they are having trouble with figuring that out.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that more or less covers character creation. So,
Cool.
aside from having to skip a bit ahead to explain how spirit works, what do you think of how character creation and just characterization works in Kamigakari?
It's definitely interesting. Uh, for me personally, definitely would have to take it on hands on. But like, I think for the most part, like, I understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm. But I think you can see what I said when I mentioned that classes are not exactly what one might think.
Yeah. They're supplement to your character.
Mm-hmm. And if anything, just saying that your character is this or that facet isn't going to tell people a whole lot about how your playstyle is going to work.
Yeah. You're making your own shonen battle protagonist.
Yeah, and I know that Warlock was able to get away with this, but when you look at a lot of shonen battle manga, imagine trying to put those in a more traditional class system, putting the cast of, say, Fairy Tail or Black Clover or any shonen battle manga in the last 40 years into traditional
honestly,
classes.
It's really hard for a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like fucking, like if you want to play Goku in D&D, it's like, all right, well, which you have to break it down to be like, all right, which Goku do you want to play? Do you want to play original Kid Goku / Teen Goku? You want to play fucking Super Saiyan Goku? There's so many. They're like a mix of monk, barbarian, and like fighter,
And
which
that gets into
unfortunately
the
is
issue
really
of multi-classing within D&D, which has always been kind of an afterthought.
Yeah, it's like if you want to go pure on one class for a character, you'll have to flavor some things.
Yeah,
because like if I want to be Super Saiyan Goku and be a barbarian, you can't. Barbarians can't normally fly, so like you're gonna have to go find a magic item that lets you fly, so you can get that that bit.
At that point, you'd be better served playing a game that's specifically built for that kind of thing instead of putting a square peg in a round hole. But
yeah, you want to play as Dragon Ball? Go find a Dragon Ball TTRPG system.
Yeah, there's plenty of them.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there are.
Mm-hmm. And to use another example, consider Edward Elric.
Oh, right, from Full Metal.
Mm-hmm. Like trying to put that kind of trying to put alchemy in that series into say the Vancian model of spellcasting falls flat on its face.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because like even at the beginning of that series, he's level 1. Level 1 in that series is insane compared to like a level 1 wizard or hell, even artificer. Artificers are half casters. They max out at level 5 spells. And they're not even like full, like they're not even meant to be full casters. They're a mix of martial and spell casting. And they're more, and if anything, they're more support spellcasters. Hell, they even have their own battle mage, literally battle mage subclass, and with that, you get a fucking robot dog, which is pretty fucking cool if you ask me. But yeah, no, turning shonen pro tags or whatever into traditional, nah. Just find the rule set that'll work for it.
Yeah. And that's I'm a big proponent of a school of thought called system does matter. That instead of trying to take one system and apply it to everything, it is and it's not necessarily saying that universalist systems are bad, but more that you're acknowledging that no one system can run everything, so it is best to pick a system that is an ideal fit, or the closest to an ideal fit, for what you're trying to run.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody said to me, I want to run a Digimon campaign, I would say, okay, what form is that taking? Are we dealing with the Digidestin kind of thing, like in almost all the anime except for Tamers, or are we
that or the X Evolution movie where it's purely just Digimon?
Yeah. Or are we dealing with something like World, which is a completely different energy?
Yeah.
And that's
having a tamer with the Digitama,
Yep.
or if you want to be the pure Digimon but with Digitama rules, which was what I was trying to think up.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of ways you can go with that.
And it would take a lot of work, but I'd probably end up doing a heavily house ruled version of what the Mega 10 RPGs do.
Yeah.
Especially since there's at least a better framework for fusion and evolutions. I feel bad for anybody who's trying to do an evolution table for a Digimon RPG. And even the ones I do have kind of abstracted, probably for their own sanity.
Yeah.
But like if someone wants to do, say, JoJo in tabletop form, I'd say, okay, what part are we doing? Because different parts have different energies.
Like honestly, part 1 and 2 could probably be done in a bit more traditional D&D, but once you get into part 3 with stands and shit, that's when it gets weird.
Even with the stands, the different parts that have had them have different energies. You know, Stardust Crusaders is a globe-trotting chase, whereas Diamond is Unbreakable is a murder mystery.
Yeah. Part 7 being a race across America and balls.
Yeah.
And also Jesus for some reason.
Yeah. And JoJo I have no idea what JoJo was trying to be.
I'm like, I gotta finish that. The last part I remember was just after the stag beetle fight JoJo had with the named family elder sibling.
Yeah.
Like,
but
I think that one kind of bit of a mystery because they're trying, because they're maybe a sort of like identity crisis mixed with like identity crisis mystery, maybe, because like
Yeah.
he doesn't know why he's got four balls
Hmm.
or why his fucking eyeballs look like they're too smushed together
Yeah.
until he finds out. And then there's weird fruit that turns people into rocks.
Hmm. But point
As far as
point
I know.
is,
Yeah.
just saying, oh, just run it in GURPS or just run it in D&D ends up creating more problems than it can solve at times.
Yeah, because unfortunately, it's not that simple.
And nothing ever is simple, obviously.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Kamigakari, the fact that you have a kind of mix and match approach for characterization
Yeah.
instead of exclusively relying on, say, point distribution, I think
Mhm.
works in its favor to ease that issue. A lot of games that go the freeform approach do it on points, which can create a higher floor because the point approach leads to analysis paralysis.
Mhm.
Um, like I brought up Shadowrun. Shadowrun's approach is here's 40 or so karma, have at it. I think they learned that that was creating problems when it came to people making brand new characters and just using the pre-gens as a workaround. So instead,
Right.
they with fifth edition Shadowrun, actually no, it started in fourth. They introduced a priority system, putting a priority on different aspects of characterization, and that gives you a pool to spend. Higher priority, higher stuff you can get, but
Right.
each item can only have a certain priority grade, so you do have to make some hard choices. With this,
Yeah.
and something I've kicked around that this is kind of leaning into is
Mhm.
I have experimented with the idea of building an RPG loosely inspired by the Pick 10 system that was in better Call of Duties.
Hmm.
Especially when it was in things like Black Ops 2, which
Okay.
I've called Black Ops 2 the last truly good COD.
Yeah.
I know some people bring up the remakes; those still have catches, and skill-based matchmaking is still ass, and everybody knows it. You just type skill-based matchmaking into YouTube, you will find dozens of videos about people bitching about it because everyone hates it.
Yeah.
But the idea with the pick 10 system was you essentially have 10 points you distribute among weapons, weapon attachments, classes, etc., with certain restrictions to build
Mhm.
your loadout, basically making a custom class. And everything from even things like grenades had a certain point value, which I know runs counter to what I said earlier about point values in some RPGs, but when you're only dealing with 10 points, the problem isn't as much of an issue.
Right.
And here, the only part that is going to be tricky for some is talent, is the talent pick. But I don't think the problem is going to be as big as it may sound, because you aren't going to have that many options for that many slots for talents, and because of the fact that that each of the facets have their own list of talents they lean into, it's easy to put two and two together. Like
Okay.
you want to do a lot of you want to do a lot of physical combat. Well, start taking talents out of Archslayer. You probably pick that as one of your facets, so half the work's done there. And obviously, if you're picking something like that, you're not going to be using a magic weapon. You're going to be using something that either cuts, pokes, or smashes good.
Yeah.
Like we saw a two-handed sword with the Blade Master of Slaughter, but that doesn't mean it can't be a hammer instead. Because remember, if you've got a big enough hammer, all your problems look like nails. But when I look at what we saw, there's not really any instance where I can think that there'd be too much in the way of analysis paralysis. And maybe with items, and even that's a stretch. And the fact that you have a few sample PCs you can pick from makes the problem even less. So I'd say the only issue that I had is the fact that spirit costs are brought up before we even know what spirit is. But that's really the worst of it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound too bad.
But with that said, I think that will wrap it up for us for this particular episode of The Valley. We will be back here next week, getting into the mechanics proper.
Woo!
Now, some of them we already dipped into in the fact that the core mechanics is a 2d6 roll.
Yeah.
A fairly common thing for Japanese TTRPGs, as I've mentioned before. So it'll be fun getting into the nitty-gritty of it, especially the way combat works.
Hell yeah.
But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.